Alright, my name is Tobias Martin. This is part 2 of the restraint exercises that I will be showing you. Today we will be focusing on feline restraint. Again, I'm going to be using this raccoon. Previously it was used for canine restraint. It's a bit better to use the raccoon for feline just because it's relatively similar to the size of a regular cat. But we're going to be going through 6 demonstrations today like previously. Starting with picking up a nervous cat from the floor and carrying it to the exam table. You can use a blanket if you want to make the animal calmer, less fearful. If it was nervous, you would just place it over the body and keep the cat close to you. But in the case that we don't have a blanket and we're not covering our eyes in this instant, we can pick the cat up, keeping it close to our body, kind of using our right arm here to grab the cat and pull it close to us, just keeping it underneath to have a good hold here. And then we're going to grab the cat kind of around the neck here. If you want, you could restrain the head, keeping a couple fingers underneath the mandible and keeping your thumb on top, but that's not super necessary in this instance unless the cat is going to potentially bite you. Otherwise, if you want to restrain the head, you can again keep your arms and keep the cat's head close to you. Once you pick it up like so, you can use your right arm here to hold both of the paws together, just to make sure that it's snug against you and that it can't move its paws or claw you. Using again the 3-finger method, keeping your thumb on the outside, your index finger on the middle of the 2 paws, and the remaining 3 fingers on the outside of the left paw. But otherwise, if we weren't using a towel, this is how it would be done. Obviously, we would be picking it up from the floor and placing it on the exam table. Potentially, if we're putting it back down, because we're holding the paws like so, we could place it down on its butt here, and then place it into sternal like so, and then going again to, you can keep it in this position if you'd like, keeping it close to your body. But this demonstration is relatively simple. Again, if you wanted to, you could use a blanket, but in this instance, we're just holding it, hoping that the cat isn't aggressive, but really just nervous. Alright, next what we're going to do is put a cat in a burrito roll. This is useful if we have a nervous cat or a cat that's being fractious, although it would be much more difficult with a fractious cat as they're going to be moving around a lot. But what we're going to do first is tuck the cat's feet as much as possible underneath its body here, just in a comfortable position, just so it's not moving as much when we wrap up the towel. It's also important to keep one of your hands over the cat's shoulder blades the entire procedure, just so it doesn't try to escape, and by having pressure on the shoulder blades, it just makes sure the cat is in place while doing this. So what we're going to want to do is grab the towel here, or the blanket, and roll it up close to its neck here, over the paws. And as we're doing so, we're going to make sure to keep steady pressure, once again, on the shoulder blades. You can wrap around if you want and try to hold the blanket from here. Obviously, this is a pretty large cat, but otherwise it's, a relatively reasonable size. Next, we're going to roll the towel usually closest to you first, but we'll say that this is the end of the exam table over here to the left. We're going to essentially, while still holding onto the blanket, kind of pushing over the shoulder blades for pressure, we're going to grab this end of the towel and roll it over the cat on top like so, behind the neck, and then we can kind of replace and reposition our hand, making sure that the remainder of the towel is over to the right side of us here, while again keeping constant pressure on the shoulder blades like so. You kind of want to angle the blanket towards you and a bit to the back of the table, so there's a good hold on the back of its neck. And then we're essentially going to do the same with the other side of the blanket. Again, we're going to grab it, make sure to keep the hand on the back of the shoulder blades, and then wrapping it kind of towards us to the back of the table, around again like so. And now you have this steady hold on the cat around its neck here, behind its neck, and it's all tucked in tight like this. It would be different if we were doing blood collection. We could also keep one of the paws out prior to the procedure, or prior to wrapping the cat in a burrito, and then we would do the same procedure wrapping it around like so. But other than that, this is a pretty simple procedure, and that's how you wrap a cat in a burrito or a cat burrito. Alright, next we are going to place and hold a cat for cephalic blood collection. Hopefully this cat is friendly. We're essentially, to make the job easier, we're just going to put it into another burrito wrap using a towel, but this time we're going to keep the left paw out here to make our jobs a bit easier. Again, we can tuck the right paw into its body, but holding the left paw out, it would be a bit more difficult in this instance to keep pressure on the shoulder blades, but we can kind of work around it, you know, keeping the paw outwards. Again, we're going to pull the blanket in like so, or pull the towel in, wrapping around the neck kind of like so, and then we can hold this side with our right hand, again placing pressure on the shoulder blades. We're going to reach around as shown previously, grab the side of the towel, wrap it around the cat like so, and then using our right hand again to place pressure back on the shoulder blades, making sure. Obviously this model isn't perfect. It would be a lot easier if it had elbows and joints to keep the arm out. And if this was an actual cat, the arm would be much further out of the blanket. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But again, after wrapping this side, we're just going to place hand on the shoulder blades, wrap this part around again, so we've got the cat all snug and secure here. And then also, to make sure the cat doesn't escape, I can place my body close to it and hold on to the towel using my body so it doesn't escape. And as shown previously, we've done this with the canine procedure as well, but we're just gonna, again, keep pressure on the head here. And then if this was our end of the table, we could also move the cat to this position here and hold it like this. But for this demonstration, I'll just keep it forward. We're gonna hold the cat at the back of the elbow here, behind the elbow, push the leg forward for the vet to collect blood. Then we're going to use our thumb here to roll the vein over to the outside for better, easier access. And then once the vet has collected blood, we're just going to release our pressure using our thumb, but still holding on to the arm with our hand here, and then place pressure on the site where the needle was inserted. Otherwise, this is relatively simple. And then again, just make sure to keep pressure on the head at all times on the back of the shoulder blades here. And otherwise, the job should be pretty easy. You can bandage up your cat now, and it'll be all good to go. Alright, next we are going to place the cat in lateral recumbency and hold it there. This is relatively simple, even a bit more than the dog, just because this is a smaller animal. Pretending that this cat is in standing position, all we would really do is reach our arms around. Obviously, the arms would be closer together, but we would use the 3-finger method again to hold the paws together, like so, and then do the same with our right hand, holding the 4 legs together, like so. And then as it's standing, keeping the cat close to your body, slowly picking up its legs and rolling them away, letting the cat slide off of your body, just so it has protection while you're doing this procedure. And I mean, most cats are pretty light. You can do this pretty fast and efficiently. And then depending on the procedure that's being performed, you can continue to hold the cat in this position, or if necessary, you can hold the forelimbs here, holding the back of the neck, or holding the head around with one of your thumbs on top. It's entirely depends on the procedure, but either way, just using the 3-finger method to restrain the paws and the legs is very efficient overall. But keeping the cat in lateral recumbency is pretty simple. Just keep it close to your body, and if you need to, restrain the head, restrain the arms. Otherwise, that's all you really need to do. Alright, next we're going to position and hold a cat for a jugular blood collection. This is relatively simple in procedure, like most other blood collection. Imagining the cat is in a standing position currently, what we're going to want to do is placing it in sternal. What we're going to do is you can either hold the scruff or hold the head, or, you know, like we normally do, place a couple of your fingers underneath the neck, under the mandible, with a thumb on top. And then if it were standing, we can use our right hand here to push the butt down so it's sitting. And then after doing this, it's the easiest to hold the cat's arms underneath like so, in the 3-finger method if we want, and then pushing it forward so it lies down in sternal recumbency, like so. And next what we're going to do is, as much as possible, we're going to want to put the cat closest to the edge of the table. Imagining, hopefully, this is the edge of the table here. It's easiest to really position the cat for jugular blood collection, just making sure the neck is really stiff. So what we're going to do is restrain the cat. Let's start with using our left hand to hold the head. Again, using the restraint method of a couple fingers under the mandible with the thumb on top. This should be sufficient for what we're doing. And then with our right hand, what we're going to do is hold the paws together with the 3-finger method. And then hopefully, we would imagine, also just to clarify, keeping the cat close to your body, just to immobilize it a bit and have better control. Imagining this is the edge of the table, we're going to want the paws kind of hanging over the edge here. So when they're hanging over the edge of the table, we can also grab the mandible and the head and really lift it up a bit. And in doing so, this is going to straighten out the cat a lot and make it a lot easier for blood collection. But otherwise, it's relatively simple. And afterwards, it's also important to place the cat back. You know, as much as important as it is to also collect the blood. Also important to note, this would be for a left jugular blood collection. It would just be the reverse if it were right jugular. And then what we're going to do is, once we've held the head and neck up, and once the procedure is done, what we're going to do is let go of the feet. We can scruff or grab the back of the neck, and then essentially we're just going to move the cat back onto the table, imagining that the legs are back on, and it's still in sternal position, but otherwise the procedure is relatively simple. Worst case scenario, if you have to put the cat in a bit of a blanket, then we can certainly do that. But otherwise, that's jugular blood collection. Alright, and finally, we are going to go through how to give oral medication to a cat. Realistically, if you want to, you can burrito wrap the cat if you're having trouble with it, keeping it still. But otherwise, we can just restrain it using the 3-finger method, keeping the cat close to her body. Realistically, we're probably going to have a pillar device, which has a rubber tip at the end. So when you do want to pill a cat, the easiest way to do it is to put the pillar in the side of its mouth, as that's less protected, and once it gets into the cat's mouth, it's much easier to open it. So once that opens up there, sorry, just finding my mouth here, imagining just my hands are kind of the pillar, you want to feed it into the side of the mouth, or here, giving a bit of a better angle, feed it into the side of the mouth, and then using the syringe on the back, the stopper, just gonna feed it back into the throat, behind the tongue, as quickly as possible, and then push the pill down the throat, then also closing the mouth, and we can also stimulate swallowing by just massaging the throat if we think that the cat hasn't swallowed up to this point. But otherwise, pilling a cat is very simple, especially when you can burrito wrap it. But otherwise, the rest of the procedures hopefully were followed correctly. Thank you for watching the video, and have a nice day.